What's good, family? I'm gonna do this post because it's been on my mind since yesterday, and I think that um, I just want to get this off my chest. What sparked this conversation was I saw a post on my timeline yesterday of Obama crying about what's happening in Chicago and what's going on in the country. And I think what really bothered me was not necessarily that Obama was crying, but more so of the fact of who made the post. And I never thought that I would have a disagreement with this person. So it started to bother me. And it sparked also conversation between me, my brother, my sister, and later on, my brother and I jumped in the car. We left Riverdale, went to the Bird, rolled through the Bird, went on the west side, Ralph David Abernathy, Lucy Street, all back over that way, going back towards the west side, back by Westlake and that manor. And one thing I noticed is from the Bird to the West End, everything was quiet, desolate. Two, it was TNT Day, and anybody from the street know what TNT means, Tuesday and Thursdays. So, besides that, one thing I told my brother was, what you don't see in the ghetto, in the hood, in the inner city, in the urban areas, you see a lot of liquor stores, you see a lot of grocery stores, you also see a lot of churches and church stores, but you do not see gun stores. There are no gun stores in the inner city. Where do the guns come from in the inner city? I'm guilty. In the 90s, I ran them. My man is doing fat time right now. He will never see daylight again. So I know about how guns get in the hood. I know how they surface in places where there are no gun stores. I don't think there needs to be extra regulation on guns. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Cain and Abel was no gun used. David and Goliath wasn't no gun used. Guns just now happens to be the weapon of choice that is being used to commit murder or crimes because guns strike fear into people. As someone who doesn't have an F on their chest, as someone who has a squeaky clean record, rush record might be a little different, but I have a squeaky clean record. You want to put more regulations on someone like me going into a gun store to buy a gun to protect me, my family, my home, my daughters, and that doesn't make sense because most people who legally buy guns, who these regulations will be put up against, they get them to collect them. And the other ones, they get them because they feel it's their Second Amendment right, and they have this fear that the government is going to come in and try to do something crazy. And that was the purpose of the Second Amendment, right? That was the purpose to bear arms, was to protect ourselves from the government trying to take over our lives and everything. With the gun issue, I think the government is getting too big. The government is everywhere. See, instead of us having gun control, what we need to have is ass whooping control. See, back in the day, you didn't, regardless of what you did, whether you was in the street or whatever, you didn't disrespect your elders, you didn't disrespect your parents, you didn't disrespect the street. Also, you got your ass whooped. You got your ass handed to you. Back in the day, I remember even if you was holding the heat and you was running off at the mouth, The gun came off your hip. You passed it to somebody. Then you told the man to put his hands up, shoot the fair one. Let's go toe to toe. Let's box this out. We don't do that anymore. People are scared of taking ass whoopings. The number one reason so many of our young people are dying is because there's no ass whooping controls. The parents have become very pussified. You're scared to raise your children. You're scared to whoop your children. Oh, my mama whipped me. My grandma whipped me. I never whipped my children. Da, da, da. We're too comfortable trying to be friends with our children. All my daughters know I'm crazy. They know that. They know there's a certain way that they could push the envelope. My mother is watching, or my mother will watch this video because we're friends on Facebook. But my mother tell you, I took the worst ass whooping on Easter Sunday, 1986, for lying. Having lied to that woman since 1986. Maybe a judge, maybe a cop, maybe somebody asking me to borrow money and I tell them I ain't got it and I do. But that's about it. But to just boldly just tell a lie or boldly lie, no, that's not going to happen. Because I always remember that ass whooping. I haven't put my hands in an abusive manner on a woman since 93. Since my brother whooped my ass. And before she could hit the ground, my brother had me by my neck, yoked up. Like, what is your problem? We do not hit women as men in this family. And so I learned then. My ex-wife called me a punk because I wouldn't put my hands on her. And it's probably typically why she's the ex-wife. But we need to go back to being parents. We need to go back to the basics. What we need is belt control, and the other thing that is missing is those words that I used to hear a lot, my sisters used to hear a lot, my friends used to hear a lot, is I'm gonna tell yo daddy, or I'm gonna tell yo mama. See, when you heard stuff like that, you straighten up real quick. See, mama came up to the school. Daddy came up to the school. See, we have now allowed our children to be babysitted. TV, the streets, the this and that. And we want to buy them $500, $600 phones and this, that, and the third and whatever. See, we got to go back to the basics. See, we're afraid of discipline. Even the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. My aunt used to have the scripture and the verse where you can find it on a paddle wrapped in tape, and she wrote on one side, spare the rod, spoil the child, and then on the other side she wrote where you can find that passage in the Bible. She wrote the book, the chapter, and the verse number. We got to go back to the basics. We got to stop trying to be friends and be parents. What we need is ass whooping control. I'm not saying whoop your children every time, because I didn't. My mother stopped whooping me, and if she'll tell you, she wish she wouldn't have stopped. Because before the good Anthony, the one you see now, I rose hell. I used to raise hell. And I ain't gonna sit here and lie and say, oh, I've been good all my life, I was sugar cookie. No, I'm in the street. But even in the street, the ass whoopings I took helped me survive, helped me to remember, helped me to come back to reality. We are now afraid of our children because the men are not there. See, this now is not a gun control problem. This is a man's problem. Too many punk-ass little boys running around here having babies, leaving them. Not raising young men to be real men. Because if we was raising our men to be men, we wouldn't have this issue. And granted, yep, my brother would hit me with the, well, we did what we did because we were poor and this, that, and the third. Granted. But all the money and success that black people done had over the last 15 years, we are now in a position to create our own jobs. We are now in a position to create and give back to our people. And there are a lot of men who are in position to do this, but we run from our responsibility. We run from the truth in the hood. We run from the fucking root of the true problem. Oh yeah, and ladies, I told you I was going to get at the men. And I'm just getting started. See, this now becomes a man issue because we are afraid to go back to the hood. See, I'm in the hood all the time. I talk to my peoples all the time. Even show them how to get jobs, fill out applications, how to clear their record, how to get that felony removed so you can go get a job. Where's the paperwork, where to go, how to do it. And if you know people who need some help, go ahead, send them my way. I don't have a problem with making sure that you can get this felony expunged off your record so you can go to work, because you rather be at work taking care of your kids than out here on these streets. I ain't got a problem with that. I will assist you with that. I know plenty of attorneys in this state. I know attorneys in New York. And the attorneys I work with, we cover 9 to 13 different states in this office. So it's nothing for me to do the research, get the right paperwork, and tell you what you need to make this happen. But now it's time for us as men to stand up. See, gun control, that's not passing new regulations on guns. Because guns don't kill people. People kill people. And I want you to remember that. I've never seen a gun misfire without it being touched or provoked by a human. I've never seen a gun just go off just to go off. It's time. You want gun control. Daddy is gun control. Ass whoopings are gun control in the black community. Going out here and educating our young brothers, letting them know. Because if Obama regulates gun control, there are going to be stricter rules for those who get caught and it is not properly done right. So guess who's going to get caught? The young black brother. Guess who's going to get more time? The young black brother. We need to stop playing. Because see, y'all missing me with the fuckery and the bullshit on this gun control. The problem is we're scared. Because look at it this way. To exercise our First Amendment right of assembly, you have to pay a fine to protest. So the government will let you march and protest down at the Capitol all day long. Why? Because you have to pay a fee. When you get there, who's there waiting on you? The police. It's already set up. But it doesn't cost nothing for us to walk through our own neighborhoods. It costs nothing for us to go in and talk to our young brothers and sisters. They're dying and they're going to prison. They're dying and they're becoming slaves. Because we're the only country where slavery is still in effect. Slavery is abolished except for the prison system. So we're the only country that still has slaves. And the people that look like me, young people that look like me, they're adding up that slave number every day. And they're getting put in the ground every day. Mothers are burying their sons because their fucking daddy was not man enough to do what he was supposed to do. And if he's not man enough, that's where the other men in the community come from. Because I came up where even if your daddy wasn't there, you had a stepdaddy. If you didn't have a stepdaddy, you had an uncle. Or even growing up in the hood, in the Bird, or in the Bronx, we had kingpins. And if a kingpin knew that you were smart, intelligent, educated, your ass better not been out here on these streets. Because he will whoop your ass, and he would take you home to your mama. Your mama would whoop your ass. And after your mama would whoop your ass, she would call your daddy. Daddy would show up and do the same. So you would learn from that whooping. You will learn from the discipline. See, we lack discipline, and discipline across the board, whether it is discipline for the actions or discipline on how we act. This is where we fall short. Sorry I took more time than what I wanted to. I love y'all, man. Be easy. The governor's gone.